Good evening. Top story to the night is an over 30,000 engineers facing job loss in J&K as government abolished self-help group scheme. Recently, Jammu and Kashmir government abolished the self-help group scheme of engineers. Some of them are saying that they are rendered jobless due to the recent order. State Bureau Chief Manzoor Al Hassan within some of engineers had discussed this issue in details. Take a look at that.
Recently, J&K government abolished self-help group scheme of engineers under which they were getting 30% reservation in different construction and other works. I have come out to speak to some of the engineers who are affected by this abolition. I'll speak to them and try to know what actually this abolition means to them, because some of them are saying that they are rendered jobless because of this recent order.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
आप अपना नाम बताइए और क्या ये ऑर्डर की वजह से क्या आपको दिक्कत का सामना करना पड़ रहा है?
मेरा नाम है आकिब मजीद, मैं सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप एसोसिएशन से मैं बिलोंग कर रहा हूँ श्रीनगर से। देखिए, जो आपके माध्यम से हमने लास्ट टाइम भी जो है ये पैगाम पहुँचाने की कोशिश की थी कि जो गैड का ऑर्डर था लास्ट टाइम निकला था 752 के ज़रिए से, हमें ये कोशिश की गई थी कि हमारा जो सेल्फ हेल्प है उसको एबॉलिश किया जाए। आप देखिए, पिछले कई सालों से यहाँ पे लोग इसी स्कीम में काम कर रहे थे, चाहे वो ओवर एज हो चाहे वो अंडर एज हो, सब ने इस प्रिविलेज का जो है लाभ उठाया था, काम कर रहे थे, अपनी रोज़ी रोटी कमा रहे थे यहाँ पे हम। मगर हमें समझ नहीं आ रहा है, बस एक लाइन की वजह से जिसमें ये मेंशन कर रहे हैं कि एक लाइन में सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप को जो है एबॉलिश किया गया। हम कई सारे जो ऑफिशियल्स के पास भी गए इस हवाले से बात करने के लिए कि आखिर हम क्या करें, किसके पास जाए, इसकी ये वजह क्या थी इसको अबॉलिश किया गया है। इसमें कई सारे लोग जो अभी तक काम कर रहे थे, जिन्होंने जॉब की अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ को अवॉइड किया और इसमें अपना जो है फ्यूचर को देखा था उन्होंने। लेकिन बदकिस्मती की बात ये है कि इंसाफ के जो दरवाजे हैं वो सारे बंद हैं और यहाँ पे मुझे लग रहा है इंसाफ दीवारों पे लिखा जाता है, बनिस्बत कि ये होना चाहिए कि ऐसा इंसाफ जो है अदालतों में लिखा जाए, या जो हमारे बड़े बड़े ऑफिशियल्स हैं जिन पे हमारी उम्मीदें हैं, ताकि हम सब की एस्पिरेशंस को समझे, ख़ासकर कि जो पढ़ा लिखा यूथ है यहाँ का, उनको रेंडर कर रहे हैं इस तरह से कि ना वो बेचारे कहते हैं ना वो घर के रहे ना घाट के रहे। अब वो बेचारे दर बदर घूम रहे हैं जगह जगह, चाहे आपके माध्यम से चाहे किसी और के ज़रिए से जो है अपना पैगाम कोशिश कर रहे हैं पहुँचाने के लिए। उन सब जो ज़िम्मेदार शख्स है यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट है, उनके पास हम गए बहुत दफ़ा यही लेकर के हमारा जो है मसला हल कीजिए। मुझे नहीं लगता कि इनका जो ये मोटिव है इस तरह से चेंज होने वाला है, क्योंकि दर बदर हम घूम रहे हैं हर जगह हर दिन और हमें कुछ ख़ास फीडबैक नहीं आ रहा है। तब से हम यूँ ही परेशान घूम रहे हैं। यही हमारी रिक्वेस्ट है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर से कि हमारा जो मसला है वो हल किया जाए, बस यही गुजारिश है।
तो हमारे साथ यहाँ पे परवेज साहब है, तो वो विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट does actually this abolition means and how many the engineers associated with this scheme and how are they getting affected with this recent order. परवेज साहब, आप बताइए कि how is this scheme was helpful and now this order of abolition, how you are getting affected and other people associated with your association.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं सईद परवेज हुसैन, प्रेसिडेंट सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप ऑफ इंजीनियर्स J&K आपके सामने बोल रहा हूँ। देखिए, आई विल गिव सम ब्रीफ feedback about the scheme. In 2001 we were fighting for the job. At that time it was Farooq Abdullah was the chief minister here. We approached him for absorption of jobs, but they categorically told us that time that we don't have the jobs, we don't have the posts available at present. And then we asked them for stipend. Earlier there was a scheme, stipend was given to the engineers who were passing out from engineering colleges or polytechnic colleges. For engineering colleges it was having 1800, and for diploma holders it was having some 1200 stipend. But that time the Farooq Abdullah, he was the chief minister, he also categorically refused that we don't have the budget, we have a financial crisis, we can't give it. And so we were fighting, we were having that time unemployed engineers association. And in 2002, I think it was the end 2002, there was a new government. A new government came. We approached them, and then they also said us that we don't have the jobs. We will get the data from the departments, how many posts are available. We'll see it. And that time also we were around 2,000 engineers unemployed. And they said us then after 5 months, they said we have only 300 posts available. We get the data from the departments. But then that time the Honorable Chief was the Mufti Muhammad Saeed Saab. They said us, I remember when we met the Qazi Abdul Saab was the Army Minister. He said us that we have a scheme as an alternative to the government job to you people, for you people. It will be only for unemployed engineers. We will keep a separate quota reserved for you people. And you can even supply, you can even go for construction workers, and you can, in one group, you can keep for all streams, whether it is from civil engineer, mechanical, computer, electrical. The motive was that if there will be a civil engineer, he will look after the civil works. If there will be the electrical engineer in this scheme, he will look electrical work. If there will be the computer engineer, he will see the computer works. So this was the, and we understand then scheme. We were sitting with the government that time, and were having discussions on this, and we thought, okay, it is good because we don't have a stipend. What we will sit in the homes, we will get depressed, and it is better to join the scheme. And they assured us that we will give the 30% quota. That time it wasn't 30%, it was 10% quota. First of all, it was 10% quota, and we are having a limit of 5 lakhs. Up to 5 lakhs of what you can do, whether it will be supply or it will be construction workers or electrical work, whatever it is. We started. I was that time the first group from Srinagar, and one group was first from Minu Arif, I remember, from Anantnag. We were giving the work, it was not tender that time. Employment department was allotting us the department, say JKPCC or any other department, R&B or rural development. I was given a first work that was Panchayat Ghar. I was given an allotment for construction of Panchayat Ghar in Palpura, but there was some land dispute, and so we could not execute that work. And then on the directions of the Honorable Chief Minister that time, I was given in Pampur, I was given a school. There was a higher secondary school. I was told you construct a separate block in that school, and we did it. We completed that work, and then we start to work in the other departments also, and it was going very good, very smoothly. And by the time we approached the government, no, this is not, because groups were coming, we were convincing the engineers who were coming, these students, youth, unemployed engineers, that you come and join this scheme because you know that. And there were the people the engineers who were working abroad, who were working in outside J&K. When they heard about this scheme, they left their jobs. They thought, okay, we will be at home. It is better to join this scheme only. So they also came out. They also joined this scheme. So it was increasing day by day, the groups were increasing. We have 5 members as per the government. We have the 5 members minimum and 10 members upper limit of this engineers. So then we approach again the government. No, you make the increase, you make the enhancement of the quota, make the enhancement of the this limit. So then in 2008, they were having the Umar Abdullah Saab was the chief minister. They also understood this scheme, and they ordered for proper guidelines for the scheme in 2008. It took 7-8 years, this formation of these guidelines, and then in 2017 this guidelines was approved by the cabinet. That time it was the Mahbub Mufti PDP and BJP government. They approved this. And we thought, now, okay, we are now in safe hands. Now we can go to any extent, and now we don't have any problem. But we were not knowing that all of a sudden, on 10th of this August, it was a shocking news for we people that this scheme has been abolished by the present UT government. And then we tried to know why it has happened, but nobody has till date from the officials gave us any response that why it has happened. Even our parent department is now employment department, because our registration is done by the employment department. They are giving see what we are doing when we register our group in employment department. After getting the employment card, then we approach to GST for GST registration. Then we have to apply for the PAN card. So these all hectic we have to done. Then the government didn't see. They have done all these exercises, and after that we will abolish this scheme in one go. If they would have, if they have the thought that we have to abolish the scheme, have they thought about our alternative? Have they thought about the future? Because now we are in this scheme since 18 years. Our families are dependent on we people. This was our now livelihood. Why we go now this time?
So we are going through a pandemic. So what do you mean by this? If a government has abolished this, how the young engineers who are associated with different self-help groups, how you see their future now?
See, I will tell you, that is why the first of all government should have think that this time it is a COVID, it is a pandemic. We should not take this harsh decision at this stage, because youths, particularly the freshers, with me, they are telling we will come on roads for any extent. Here the government is telling we have a lockdown, we have a COVID, we have to maintain the social distance. But they will not think about now that thing. They will come, they will protest on the roads. They will go for self-immolation because it was their livelihood. So this has affected not these engineers, this has affected our families, this has affected our workers. It is around 1 lakh people are getting affected by this abolishment of this scheme. This is the main problem this time.
We're joined by a young engineer here who was also associated with one of the self-help groups. We'd like to know his condition and the situation now at home, at work, what he is doing now. What's your name, and tell us how do you feel about this recent order?
Greetings of the day. My name is Yasir Abbas. I had recently joined this scheme last year in 2019. I was very excited about the scheme, but in the last week we came to know about the GAD order, and I felt betrayed. I felt totally devastated by the UT government. It came as a betrayal to us. It was a good opportunity for us. I was excited about the scheme, and there were many people associated with me through this scheme. So I was able to give employment to some other people. I was not only getting employment for me, I was able to give the employment to other people as well. So this came as a shocker.
So now this is a pandemic situation, and it's very difficult. The job market is also shrinking. So what do you think is your future and the future of other unemployed engineers? What would you like to say to the government?
See, as you know, as you talked about the pandemic, you know the world is going through a recession right now, and the government of India, government of our country, is making revival plans on economy. So on one hand, they are making revival plans on economy, and on other hand, they are rendering the youth jobless. So I don't think government is doing any good revival plans for the economy. We were a part of economy. We were helping economy grow, but this, unfortunately, they have betrayed us. Government has totally left us alone.
So what's the demand now? What do you want to demand to the government?
We want immediate revocation of this order. Immediate revocation of this order. Otherwise, we have no other option than to hit on streets.
So we have more engineers joined here. We'd like to know their situation also. What's your name and
My name is
tell
Asif.
us-
My name is Asif Bashir.
Tell us about this abolition order and how it has affected you personally.
We affected on 10th of August when we heard regarding this order. After that, we have broken the hearts. Our children are not what I
तो क्या सिचुएशन है घर पे अभी?
अभी सिचुएशन घर पे टेंस बहुत है, क्योंकि सारा कुछ हमारे से छीन गया. जो भी हमने एक्सिक्यूट किया था, इन सालों में पाया था काम करने के लिए, वो सारा कुछ छीन गया. एक लाइन में हमने बहुत मेहनत की थी इसमें एग्जीक्यूट करने में, यहाँ पे डिपार्टमेंट्स में अपनी ये बनाने में, हर किसी चीज़ में मेहनत की थी, लेकिन सारा कुछ एक लाइन में सारा कुछ ख़त्म कर दिया.
तो आप किस तरह का काम करते थे? व्हाट काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स यू वुड डू?
मैं सिविल का भी काम करता था और इलेक्ट्रिकल का भी काम करता था। यहाँ पे फ्लड कंट्रोल में मैंने ज़्यादा काम किया है। 4-5 सालों से मैं उधर ही ज़्यादा काम कर रहा था। पूरे तरीके से यहाँ पे ब्रीच भी हुए थे लास्ट टाइम, जो यहाँ पे दिसंबर में ब्रीच हुआ था शिवपुरा में, वो क्रिटिकल वर्क था, वो मैंने ही किया था सारा। पूरा पेंडिंग में पूरा दिन रात वहाँ पे काम किया था। वो हमारे उनको यहाँ पे जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है उनको भी पता है उस काम का।
So we would like to know from Parvez Saab, since he is heading the association of self-help group of engineers, we would like to know how they are fighting this case with the government, whether they are going for legal case or whether they are trying to motivate government to revoke this order. Parvez, what's the situation now? What's the status of your fight?
Sir, since 10th of August, we are fighting peacefully. This is our motive. We will fight peacefully till we will get an answer from the government. Either they shall revoke this order or they shall give us the alternative of the scheme. If they don't have this thing, then definitely we have to come then on roads and we will go for hunger strike. And we are trying, since 10th of this August, we are trying to meet the Lieutenant Governor, Manoj Saab, and especially to Chief Secretary Saab. But unfortunately, till date we are not getting any appointment. But through other sources, we are also trying to convince them that what is the motive behind why they have revoked this, why they have abolished this scheme, and first of all, they should have get the feedback from the main stakeholders of the scheme. But unfortunately, they didn't do that thing. But if we will not sit, we have made this motto throughout the J&K. You can see in whole J&K, in every district, protests are going on every day, and we are still hopeful that Honorable Lieutenant Governor Saab, maybe he will heard about views, and he will take the review of the scheme. And we have also met the honorable advisor Farooq Khan Saab. He has assured us that we will get it revoked. You don't know, but it is when they will do it, we don't know. When they will do it, we don't know that thing. That is the main thing. But we will fight till the end. We'll come on there. We'll go for hunger strike. Even there are some engineers who said we will go for self-immolation if they will not revoke this order.
Thank you. So, with this scheme, almost 30,000 engineers were associated, and they are now rendered jobless. And all of them are ready to come on roads and sit for hunger strike, because it concerns their livelihood and their families are affected, and they personally are in very distressing situation. So all of them are now appealing to the government that they want revocation of this order, because livelihood issue is a big problem, especially in the pandemic. Manzoor Hassan with cameraman Sheikh Moomin in Srinagar for India Bulletin.
Second story to the night is about open air classes in Kashmir. How remote school showed a way out amidst a pandemic. Kulsuma Akhtar, 16, a student of 10th standard, walked 9 km every day to attend the community classes away from the congregation amid coronavirus pandemic. Climbing steep paths through the boulders and large meadows and green pasture, Kulsuma has to reach the spot which is beyond a cluster of a mud herds deep in forest surrounding in Sagarwani. Second story to the night is about open air classes in Kashmir. Javed Sofi, our reported from Jammu and Kashmir. How remote school showed a way out amidst of pandemic. Kulsuma Akhtar, 16, a student of 10th standard, walked 9 km every day to attend community classes away from the congregation amid of coronavirus pandemic. Climbing steep paths through the boulders, large meadows and green pastures, Kulsuma has to reach the spot which is beyond a cluster of mud huts deep in the forest surrounding Sagarwani village, where a group of teachers has started a makeshift school for poor and nomadic children. Sangerwani village is on one of the borderline between Pulwama and Badgaon, around 35 km from Srinagar, the capital of Jammu and Kashmir. And a group of teachers from Government Boys High School has been conducting the temporary classes for Kulsuma and 249 other boys and girls in the district. It is open under the shadow in the pins of since 3rd of June 2020. Locally, they are named outdoor community classes, for which students have strict instruction of wearing face masks, maintaining social distancing and washing hands regularly. Students have to follow the norms between their homes and the new school, a place known as Namalban, where they sit for 5 hours every day, every working day. I don't attend online classes because I can't afford a smart mobile phone, Kulsuma said when she was asked why she is sitting the open for talking these classes. Kulsuma and other students in Sangerwani belong to poor families from nomadic Gujar community. The Gujar families in the remote village own little or no land. They earn their livelihood from hearing cattle. Abdul Hamid, a teacher at GBSS Sangerwani, narrated in his discussion. He told that during summer they move to upper reaches deep into the forest, where they live in huts made of mud and wooden. Even these families can't afford to have modern facilities like smartphone or laptops to their words. He added in that discussion. They were very upset when schools were closed in Valley since August 5, 2019, when the Eastwhile state was stripped of its semi-autonomous status of bifurcate into two union territories. This is Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. When schools started to reopen across the valley in March 2020, a national lockdown was announced to contain the spread of community virus in COVID-19, which is Kashmir recorded around 29,326 cases and 561 deaths so far. The worry of the parents turned into the reason because their kids were depressed for not having regular classes. A sincere attempt on online classes by teachers didn't work out. The only handful of students were able to attend them. Only 2 parents of the students were able to attend online classes, recalled by Abdul Hamid. Every day, students from the poor families started approaching their teachers in droves for conducting offline classes. A request which was against norms after a lockdown was imposed for containing the spread of COVID-19. Holding classes for 250 students in a small space school building was beyond imagination. It would have been very difficult to maintain the social distancing in their premises. Hamid also added in discussion. The teacher said held a series of meetings for seeking to way out. Encouraged by their head teacher Ghulam Muhammad Shah, they decided to carry open air classes in upper reaches for Namalban and adhering to the previous mandate for containing coronavirus infection too. A photograph of the outdoor community classes was shared by a teacher with a zonal educational office through WhatsApp, where from the photograph was forwarded to higher authority. The morale of the teacher was high when the principal secretary of school education department, Dr. Asghar Hassan Samoon, shared the photograph on his Twitter handle. A verbal appreciation by higher authorities to the school education department resulted in the continuance of these classes with a complication standard operating system. In neighboring Abama village, 10 km down the hill, teacher from Government Boys Higher Secondary School GBSS followed suit. They started open air classes in public park at a distance from the institution with slight modification. They conduct 2 sessions, one in the morning and another in the evening. The open air classes come as a breather for 246 students who were out of school like other Valley students since August 5, 2019. The classes come in handy. The students were depressed for not having any classes since August last year, said Mahmood Ashraf, a parents of an Abama village. Ashraf's only worry is that his kid has to sit in open for live 5 hours in hot and humid condition. Imtiaz Ahmed, the monitoring official for open air classes in this area, said that they couldn't hold indoor classes for 246 boys and girls. GBHS Abama has two small buildings, a double-storied building consisting of 6 rooms which they are declared unsafe by engineer of roads and building department of couple of years ago. Adherence to SOP on COVID-19 was not possible. Here it was decided to have an open air classes for students. The Imtiaz also added in his discussion, he added that in the absence of a high-speed 4G internet which remains suspended in Kashmir since August 5, 2019, they have been struggling to have online classes with a restricted internet with 2G. The online classes have poor appeal because the poor audio, lack of poor eye contact, or the student and frequent breakdown in the class class of slow internet. Stimulus joining by an all member of a class also remain a challenge. The open air classes gain momentum after many of teachers in central and North Kashmir villages replicated them. To A.H. Vegai, a senior teacher of GBHS Abama, the open air classes are way out amid a pandemic. The student whose future was at stake were realized to great extent by having their classes. He added, he said in his discussion, but citation is there is a will, there is a way. Kashmir have in lockdown from last 365 days, but the teacher from GBSS and the community was showing the will in their passion, and now they passionately have a way to teach all the students. That is the story for today. Good night. We'll see on next episode. Thank you.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.